Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and also non-binary people. I am streaming right now. Yes, I'm back to Mario Kart Wii, and the primary objective for this stream is I want to get revenge on the track that beat me up twice and took my lunch money twice. That being Royal Raiinbow. That track is very cool, I think. But you know, I gotta show it who's boss. And I also, as a slight departure from earlier streams, I'm not just sort of fishing in my brain for things to talk about. I have a couple things written down that I wanted to touch on. And then there's one thing. There's actually one thing that I'll write down right now that I didn't write down earlier. Okay. So, without further ado, I think I will get into the gameplay. And I'm gonna vary up my sort of flow of how I conduct the stream this time. I'm gonna wait to start talking about the topics I wanted to go over until there are people actually watching the stream, until I can verify that, you know, somebody's in my chat or whatever. You know, so once I'm gonna check Twitch here. Once that viewer count hits like 2 or 3, then I will maybe then I'll start rattling off what I wanted to say. I know that, you know, I might suffer in terms of audience numbers because everybody isn't necessarily interested in politics, but you know what I say to those people is tough shit. If your skin is any shade darker than Wonder Bread, or if you get mildly aroused by anything that your same sex has to offer, or are in any way not heteroconforming, you have to know about politics. It's like, I'm not giving you the option. Because in the United States, there is an active effort on the part of the Republican Party to start a genocide against the LGBT plus community, especially trans people. We've seen lately an increase in hateful rhetoric around the subject. Just 1 second. And this actually segues into something that I want to talk about, so I'll give it a second on that. But yeah, because of the current political climate in the United States, I consider it actually a moral obligation for people to have some degree of knowledge about the political climate in which we live right now. So that's why I'm here. And if you guys are, you know, if you guys are apolitical, then you're big dumb. I'm just kidding. I love you. But that's gonna have to change, realistically speaking. Oh, what's going on with that guy? Okay, he's lagging a little bit. So it looks like here we got Candy Coaster. Not Candy Coaster. What? I'm fucking dumb. No. Lunch and Tour from Mario Odyssey. And it's only a 3-player room right now. It says there's going to be 5 players next race, but that hasn't accounted for anybody in this room who's going to leave. So, for all we know, this could be a 2-player room. This could be a 1v1 between me and one other guy. Alright, I take this is lap 3 incoming here. This guy's got a lot of S's in his name. I do not know why. Oh, but yeah, actually, there is one thing I wanted to say about that same subject, about conservatives in America being, you know, gearing up towards a queer genocide. Is that I would like to provide that as the sort of explanation for why I had such a reaction to what was their name last stream. grant them. That's why I reacted that way, because AIDS has often been invoked as a homophobic thing, and you know, we're in a particularly sensitive spot in America with regards to that sort of discourse. Yeah. To such a degree where now I saw recently, GOP lawmaker said that it's not homophobic to want to stone gay people to death because it says you should do that in the Bible. Oh, actually 6 people. Wow, I'm surprised. And the amount of mental gymnastics needed to sort of arrive at that position is well, it's a lot. It's no lean feat. I'll say that much. To say that it's not homophobic to want to stone gay people to death, actually, because the Bible, which was written by people, has been edited by people dozens of times throughout history, and interpreted by people you know, as many, if not an order of magnitude, as many times throughout history, and is now being interpreted an infinite number of different directions today. You know, opiate of the masses and some such. There is no correct interpretation of the Bible. And likewise, there is no incorrect interpretation of the Bible. I don't know if I wanted that draft. I'm just gonna stay in third for a little bit here. This is not an ideal spot to be in, but, you know, jeez. Oh, wow, low trick, huh? Give me this item. Okay. Now, at least I have protection, in some sense. Oh, that guy doesn't know the track. Poor dude. Look at that low trick. Delicious. Have fun choking on that for a little bit. Or maybe you just don't have that much trouble avoiding it, which is also fine. Please let me just front run this whole track and get first. That would be very nice, I think. Alright, now where do I put this banana? Probably there. I don't have a better idea. I knew it. It had to happen. But luckily, I respawned nice and big, and I'm in second, which is arguably a better position to be in at this point in the race than first, because that means that that guy in front of me is going to have to take a blue shell. And I'm not going to have to. I don't know what happened to that guy, but I guess I'm in first now. I think I didn't, yeah, I didn't quite get him with that fake item there. But I do, oh, I got somebody. I do, however, have this green shell. I had the green shell. Jeez, I keep getting fake item boxes. I hope he didn't get like a red shell or something. Oh, okay. He did get another fake item box? You gotta be kidding me, dude. Oh. Okay. Whew. Narrowly escaped my fate there. Nope, he fell off again. Oh, come on. Just my luck, huh? Well, look, I'm still in a very good position. I'm in second. I'm about to get an item here, even though I don't have an item right now. And if there's another blue shell, he's gonna take it instead of me. And never mind, he fell off, so I have triple red shells in first. Which is, muy bien, muy bien. Alright, well, there we go. First race of the video, objective achieved. I have gotten my revenge on Royal Raiinbow. Congratulations, you are a winner. Super player. Ah, yes, 2 people. I can start going into probably what I wanted to talk about now. So first, on the same subject, on the same, in the same vein as the ongoing Republican rhetorical war, which may soon become an institutional, a violent institutional war, if it's not already, against the queer community. There was a group in Florida, hate group, called Moms for Liberty. You can always tell what the conservative groups are because they'll have like freedom or liberty or whatever in their name. Which is not to say that every group that has that is conservative, but most conservative, like, there's a significant overlap. Anyways, this group was interviewed, and they said that openly, this is what they argued for. They wanted to segregate classrooms, but not this time not based on race, but based on sexuality, sexual identity, etc., etc. Basically, they want any trans, gay, generally queer kids, anybody part of the LGBT plus community, separated from, you know, cis straight kids in the classrooms because they think it would be poison for their young minds. I'm obviously loading the phrasing a little bit there. They didn't say that as directly. They said, like, oh, it'll confuse the kids. Like, they won't understand it. Which is not an argument, right? Kids will just accept anything. Like, if you say, I'm a boy and I like boys, then a kid will just understand that. They might not understand why you like boys as opposed to girls, but they'll just be like, oh, okay, he likes boys. You know? So they're using that sort of argument, the think of the children, as a front to institutionally separate marginalized people from the non-marginalized people. This time along sort of gender, if there's some trans kids, but they're a minority, so I'll just say along sexual identity, sexuality lines. And I don't think I need to elaborate a whole lot on why that's just bad. Because by doing... I mean, I will, but I shouldn't really need to. By removing kids from an environment where they can learn about these things at a young age, what you do is you alienate the concept and the people to them. So if you intentionally shelter kids from understanding how liking another person works, then they are going to be much more open to dehumanizing those groups later on in life. They don't learn what a gay person is. They're going to think that's abnormal because that's the prevailing narrative. And then they're going to be more easily weaponized against the gay community, queer community broadly. It's gravely concerning that this is the mainstream talking point of the American right wing. This is their mainstream tagline, and these people enjoy a considerable amount of institutional power and protection for these views, which are, to my knowledge, classified as hate speech by most human rights groups. And of course, those groups are right to classify it as such. You know, me, somebody who's straight passing, you know, I might not outwardly be affected by this stuff, but if I were growing up in a climate where this is a new institutional norm, it's not quite an institutional norm yet. The you know, conservatives in America are still experimenting with, can we actually get this implemented in classrooms, etc., etc. But if I were to grow up in a world where this was the case, I would have to hide how I feel about just about everything for my whole life, lest I face, excuse me, the persecution of the state. And in fact, this is one of the things that the Nazis did as well. One of the groups that they, one of the marginalized groups that they were very interested in further marginalizing. It was, of course, the Nazi persecution of Jews is what gets highlighted in history, and for good reason, of course. The largest, one of the largest genocides that humanity has ever witnessed, and against a group that had been marginalized for literally thousands of years beforehand. But, you know, let me tell you, the Nazis didn't exactly like queer people either, or as they would call them, probably sexual deviants. Because they deviated from the norm of being heterosexual. Of course, deviant in that sense being used as a prescriptive term to say they're bad and should be removed from society. Am I the only person that kind of knows how this track works? I see that a lot with some of the jank and like a little bit older tracks. It's weird that tracks like this are now old, as far as CTGP goes. Like, I'm sure this is a new version of this track, but it's been in CTGP for a fair while. I need an item. Give me item. Thank you. Yeah, so that's the Moms for Liberty cringe, and they're not the they're far from the only small group doing this. Of course, a lot of these groups are what's the term? AstroTurfed, which means they appear to be grassroots, but they actually get money from some considerably bigger fish in the political sense. You know, like kind of like the most well-known version of this is Turning Point USA. You know, they get a lot of their money from Koch brothers. Oh, it's just the one guy now, but you know. Ooh, you hear that? Knuckle cracking. But anyways, I don't want to ramble too long on that one topic there. You know, and of course, I think it's relatively well known that Republicans don't like gay people. But you know what else? You know what else, or rather, who else they don't like is poor people. That comes up a fair bit. Although, on that front, relatively frequently they get Democrats agreeing with them, or at least not offering very much pushback, like elected Democrats in the legislature and things like that. You know, this is not to slander the average voter by saying that they support the income gap growing wider and things like that. I think that's generally a pretty ubiquitously bad thing people recognize. But today I saw a really stupid tweet that I responded to. He's not going to notice because he's literally a congressperson. Adam Kinzinger tweeted something to the effect of like, "Oh, cancel student debt. What about it was some whataboutism about like, what about the trucker paying off his truck or the barber who has to get supplies for his shop?" And I know that this might even be, first of all, truckers have to go to school too, trade school, as do barbers, I'm pretty sure. So that yes, their costs should be reimbursed too. But even if that weren't necessarily the case, I think you should reimburse those people's loans as well, or like forgive their debts as well, because like They're both providing services that are essential to the functioning of a society, aren't they? Without truckers, we don't have any shipping industry, basically. Ooh. Ooh, man. That was nerve-wracking. Somebody has a thundercloud there. I'm going to stay as far away from that person as possible. And I think I just get a breakaway here, more or less. Yeah, it's like, it's some like gesturing as well about the hypocrisy of the left of wanting to forgive college loan debt, but not other kinds of loan debt, like car payments, truck payments. And then he said, this is why we shouldn't forgive college debts, because all these other people will come asking. And then I was like, well, no, this is exactly why we should forgive that kind of debt, because none of this debt is exactly morally okay to levy on people, you know? Like, imagine your livelihood being ruined because you want a roof over your head. That's what happens to a lot of people. Rent is, like, as high as it's ever been in America. The average rent in the United States is over $2,000 a month. Which, given the parity with the euro right now, for people in Europe, that's about 2,000 euros per month. And in the United States, we don't have very many, like, housing assistance programs. They exist, but they're not terribly robust. And you could be in pretty significant need of housing and not get it because of how means-tested programs like that are, as a result of how underfunded they are. It's a cercle vicieux, as some French scholars would say. I didn't mean to put that back, but that actually works for being there. But the significance of that is that that tweet from Kinzinger. He's one of the Congress people on the January 6th committee, one of the Republican members of the committee. And the importance of that, I think, is that we gotta remember, none of these people are our friends. Not Kinzinger, not Cheney, not fucking... God, I can't remember any... I'm sorry, I can't remember very many people's names from the committee. But, you know, they all have a very... Regardless of their social positions, even, they have a very hard-baked-in classist bias, to varying degrees, but it's there. Against people who are unable to pay certain debts or afford things, so they have to go into debt in the first place. You know, and that sort of stigmatization towards the poor is how you get a fucking, what's the term? Enlargening? That's how you get an enlargening economic bottom, which is usually bad. Not from any moral perspective, but just from a logistical perspective of like, how are we going to maintain a good standard of living for people? But apart from that, I know that might turn off some of the more conservative viewers in my audience, which is okay, because I'm not a conservative, so I don't have to worry about such dribble. But something I think that everybody would agree with is that CNN is hot garbage. Hell yeah! Can I get some normie points for that one? every mainstream news outlet to some degree is like this, but I think CNN really embodies it more so than a lot of other outlets. Barring Fox News, obviously, because Fox News is like way out there. CNN has a new CEO, or has had a new CEO for a little while now. And as a result of this new chief executive, the news outlet has been like drifting rightward, which is which I don't think is very good, because recently the sort of right-wing media circuit in the United States has been notably devoid of facts and fact-based reporting. A lot of opinion pieces, a lot of opinion segments, a lot of conspiracy even, but not a whole lot of good old daily news reporting. Or even like polling data and whatnot, because a lot of these places do political news still. If you're a political news outlet and you cover politics, part of your wheelhouse is, covering polling data, covering new studies. Sometimes sociological or political studies will make it on the news, like, oh, a new study found that blah blah blah. You see that sometimes. And fact-checking other things. Fact-checking certain news stories from other outlets. And fact-checking the guests that they have on, even. CNN has guests on from time to time. They do interviews and stuff like that. But, especially as of late, the guests that are fiscally conservative and advocate for lower taxes, usually on the very wealthy, tend to not get as much pushback as the people that say, yeah, we should really have a more robust infrastructure network, or yeah, we should really have, we should really make healthcare more affordable for people, or maybe we should forgive some college loan debt. That'd be pretty good. Those folks get all the pushback of, oh, but it would cost so much. How would we pay for this? You'd bankrupt the country. We'd be running so big of a deficit or whatever. And one such show where they do sort of discussions like this was called what was it? Reliable Sources. And recently, that show got cut from the network because I guess they've gave a little bit too much pushback for the new sort of conservative direction that the media is going in. And of course, don't let the rhetoric fool you of we need to return to the center. Whenever somebody says that, return to the center, they always mean that they're moving to the right. You will never hear a Republican ever say, we need to return to the center, which means the Republican Party needs to move left. It's always, by implication, that otherwise left-leaning outlets, left-leaning politicians, left-leaning groups need to start moving to the right. I pointed to my right. That's on screen, that's left for you guys, but for me it's to the right. Which is, to me it's kind of frustrating, but only a little bit, because I already don't like CNN, because they're like almost the embodiment of the political establishment in news, in all of its bad aspects. And also because I don't watch cable news. Cable news always relies on very, very big advertisers to support themselves financially, with a private media industrial complex is inevitable, right? Like, how else are you going to support yourself? You have to rely on private donors. But it does also result in certain stories not getting coverage because they would hurt the bottom line of those advertisers. For example, CNN will not run pro-Medicare for All news stories or coverage or, anything like that, because they get donations, they get funding from organizations, corporations like Blue Cross Blue Shield, insurance companies, pharmaceutical companies who have a vested financial interest in keeping the cost of prescription drugs very high, because that makes them a lot of money. And it makes CNN some money too, because, you know, that's some money that they eventually get in the form of donations, however derivative it is, you know. And likewise with stuff like agribusiness. That one's not as visible, but it does happen. You know, where rarely do you see the conditions of factory farms being reported on CNN in particular, because they get some money from the agribusiness industry as well. Excuse me, I can't speak very well today. You thought you could get me, but you were wrong. That was a very good POW, by the way. Props to whoever used that. That was difficult. Alright, I'm just waiting for the next box here, by and large. There it is. Beautiful. This track is rough. So that's the latest installment of CNN Sucks, and don't watch it. It also, funnily enough, is not doing that well from a financial perspective either, since it has the lowest ratings of all of the existing news outlets. You know, you wouldn't think it because of how ubiquitous of an image the like CNN logo is or whatever, but all the other networks, ABC, NBC, MSNBC, you know, Fox News, get more in terms of viewership numbers than CNN does. It's significantly so, in fact. And I'm sure everybody saw and kind of reveled in the fact that CNN attempted to launch a streaming platform that didn't go over so well with their viewers. And by didn't go over so well, I mean it was like a massive financial failure, and they ended up having to cancel it, like full stop. Lost a little bit of time. Jesus, I'm not paying attention to them floundering all over the place. Oh wow, Wild Wing user, huh? Honestly, props to this person. Oh my god, I fell off a third time. Oh, no way. Is that a blue shell? I'm gonna feel really bad if that's a blue... Okay, okay. You got me. Okay. Good stuff. Yeah. So that was sort of the part where I think most people would agree with me why CNN sucks a lot. Where people will not agree with me is why CNN is the reason that I didn't invoke. There we go. The reason I would not invoke for CNN being garbage. Them being woke? No. CNN is not woke enough. Be more woke, idiot. And also that term, like, doesn't mean anything. Like, whenever I feel like, I can't help but feel like if I were to ask for a definition of woke from somebody, you know, the definition they would give would just be a combination of buzzwords that also don't really mean anything, or that don't exist in a real setting. you know, which again renders it meaningless. Now we have a less complicated track up. We got Jungle Glade, although it is mirror mode. Let's hope I can keep a decent lead here. Nice. All right. That fake item box is not going to hit anybody, but it will make somebody go a little bit wider than they were originally intending to. And that's good. Right, mirror mode. Whew. Have to remember which way is which on this track. Whoa, what happened to that guy? You alright? Jeez. Oh, that would be the perfect hidden banana spot on that ramp there. Nice try, guys. But I was one step ahead of you. Ah, come on. Now the game's one step ahead of me. Hopefully somebody hits that fake item. That'd be cool. All right, I'm gonna try that that hidden banana spot now. Put it right here. Oh, come on! I messed it up. Oop. Oops. Okay. Shot. Ah, I remember the first thing I wanted to talk about, or rather, it was the first thing, and then I went in like reverse order on the lists from bottom up instead of top down. And it was the cops. Oh boy, the cops. Not the FBI. FBI didn't do anything wrong in this instance. Rare FBI W. But you know, common police department L's all around. First of all, very grave situation. Possibly the worst thing I've seen cops do in a long time, and that says something with the kind of shit that cops have done. Is that in Denver, Colorado, cops were in the process of apprehending a suspect, a guy that like had a gun. Well, they didn't know he had a gun. What he did was he pulled the gun out of his pocket and threw it away, disarmed himself, which might not have been the best way to go about it procedurally, but the instinct is correct there. I mean, you want to not be armed when the cops are pointing a gun at you. I think he did it a little bit too late. And so the cops shot him, and he fell over. But that was not enough for the police officers. He got up and started, like, running. Again, correct instinct, because somebody's shooting at you. Doesn't matter cop or not. And there was a crowd of people in the direction that he was running, because I think the cops were like kind of had him boxed in on the other sides. So they basically herded him into a crowd of people that he ran towards. And then they proceeded to fire several more times, injuring I think 6 people in the crowd. So yes, this was a mass shooting in Denver, Colorado, where all of the perpetrators were cops, and all of these shots fired came from cops. In fact, the cops, you know, as far as the shooting was concerned, the cops were the only people who were armed. Because that guy had thrown away his gun. Which is absolutely disgusting. Ah, I messed up the thing a little bit there. That's okay. Man, this Carter is really good. Shoutouts to, what's her name? Kitty, I think? Shoutouts to Kitty. You're really good Carter. Keeping pace with this mock bike. Granted, I'm not the greatest, you know, not the greatest mock bike user. Nobody ever accused me of being spectacular at the game, but like, you know, a lot of these tracks are just not designed for karts. So definitely props to you. There we go. That's I think that's a little bit faster to do that like that. I'm gonna try for the shortcut this time. Again. There we go. That's how you do it. Am I gonna get this box? I am. Wow. So that was oh wow, these are the smartest red shells. Kitty cat, damn. Smartest red shells I've ever seen anybody use. And not in terms of like red shell AI. I mean just the spacing out with which sorry, I had to do that. I want to get first here, but man, that was good usage of your items. Oh yeah, I also have the advantage. I can take those turns real tight, whereas the Wild Wing has to go pretty wide to do that. Banana here. That was but anyways, yes. This time it was not just the cops failing to stop a mass shooting. It was the cops actually perpetrating a mass shooting. And I don't know how far the story has developed since then. I don't know if anybody has died yet, or if, you know, if they all survived. But you know, still kind of exposing the true colors of the cops. I think the phrase definitely applies to when somebody shows you who they are, you should believe them. It shouldn't take like years and years and years of repeated the same behavior on film for you to finally pick up on it. But that's not all. There was also an incident in Arkansas. This one made headlines as well, where the police brutalized a homeless man, three on one homeless guy, 3 cops, and somebody else was filming. And believe it or not, the police actually had the gall to point at that person in a threatening manner, like, you're next. It was like, oh shit. Like, it just seems like this week there's been a flurry of police taking it even farther than I thought they were previously want to do. Like, obviously they were capable of taking it this far. Police could literally go into the school and shoot up the school themselves, and the institution of policing would still protect them. That's how the institution of policing works. It first and foremost is protect your own. But I didn't think they, you know, would do some of these things. I didn't think they would brutalize a homeless man and then threaten the person filming them. I didn't think they would do a mass shooting on their own. But I guess I would. So now I have to adjust my my descriptive understanding of the world to meet that turn of events. What's up, Anti? Oh no, I think I wheelie bumped him. Am I lagging? I might be lagging. That might be a concern because I'm streaming and such. But yeah, ACAB and such. And obviously, you know, if there's anybody out there who isn't like outright thin blue line pro cop blah blah, if you're just sort of a in political terms, if you're just sort of a normie, you know, nothing wrong with that, not sold on either side of the police debate. What I'm not advocating for here is that there should never be cops ever. And in a society that, with a complexity, the degree to which we live in today, a social institution to sort of manage what we recognize as morally reprehensible behavior, in shorthand, a policing institution, is necessary and good to have. You know, because the law is basically the moral code of life that broadly we agree upon, and the police are the method by which we enforce that moral code. If you are in violation of that, for example, if you murder somebody, the police can arrest you for murder. Oh no, we both fucked it up. You know, and the reason why murder is illegal is because it's bad. It's not bad because it's illegal. It's illegal because it's bad, or because enough like people who are well educated on the law and things like that agreed that this is sufficiently bad for it to be against the rules. But anyways, the reason I would say, I will say ACAB and whatnot, and the reason that I fully believe that and agree with the sentiment, is because the current state of policing institutions in America is wholly incompatible with the moral system that we currently have. Like the police in today's America cannot be trusted to faithfully enforce and execute the laws as written by, legislatures. They just cannot. Because all they want to do is just go out and crack black skulls. For the most part. In fact, that's relevant to why police in America are bad to begin with, which is not, granted, again, it's not to say that every officer is bad. It's to say that the system compels a cop to be a bad cop. Good cops are the exception. The rule is that you are a bad cop. Because the police force as we currently know it today was based off of a model in the 19th century before the Civil War. I'm sure people may have heard this before, which were slave patrols. They would go patrol the borders between states and even patrol just in northern states to capture runaway slaves and return them to the slave owners and slave drivers that they ran away from. And then collect a reward for that. And of course also, after the Civil War, based on the institutions of private policing that answered just to one political official or to a company, such as the Pinkertons policing group or whatever. So those are the origins of policing in America, and why I think that the expression that you shouldn't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I think both of those are sufficiently bad in the United States that you got to throw out both of them and rebuild the baby and the bathwater from the ground up. In fact, in the early 20th century, there was a German fellow, whose name I forget, but he was a sociologist, who designed a new model of policing that we loosely still rely on, but have deviated enough from that it sucks. Again, like policing sucks. Where police have to be members of their own communities and patrol their neighborhoods on foot. So that they're familiar with the people, and so that they're also so that they're members of their own community and all that. I fucked up. Just in time. I have the means with which to dodge a blue shell here, so I'm going to try to hang on to this. Ooh, he's going to try to snipe me. I know it. Yep. Ooh. So yes, police, bad. Policing institution, theoretically, necessary and good. But, you know, current state of police institution, bad. Should be, abolished and rebuilt from the ground up. But maybe don't abolish it until you've already rebuilt it from the ground up. And then abolish it and then just put the new one in place. Because I know that, you know, reformism can take you a long way in politics, but I genuinely think that the current policing system is beyond reform. And it operates way too much just like a basically state-funded, state-backed mafia to have any sort of legitimacy. Even if you reform it a lot. Like, there's no, you know... I think regardless of how much you do that, it'll still maintain the same fundamental flaws that it always has. And that will always eventually lead it to the same place where you're just cracking the skulls of poor people on the sidewalk instead of actually worrying about things that are threats to public safety. Because very frequently, you know, white-collar individuals, and by white-collar I mean like really wealthy, get away with crime that nobody else would. And in fact, they present more of a clear and present danger to the community than any poor person who's also like a drug addict or whatever. Even that guy in LA who went around punching people, which, you know, that guy shouldn't have been let out. You know, he is not as much of a threat as the local pharmaceutical giant who denies people medicine unless they can pay exorbitant prices, because he's injuring dozens of people. But that pharmaceutical giant is killing thousands of people nationwide. This way is faster. Whoa, what? You can go over there? I didn't know this. Oh, got him. I'm so good at the game. How do you find that route? Is that a shortcut? I bet that's a shortcut. I don't know if that's something you can just take. Alright, let's see where he's going here. Nope, he's going this way. I think that required a mushroom, that shortcut that he took. Please let there be a blue shell. That would be nice. That'd be good and fun. Ah, damn it. He got me, huh? He's gonna have one here. Yep. I'm gonna try to get him on the straightaway there. Okay, never mind. Didn't get him. Then in that case, I'm gonna take the shortcut that he took. Hopefully it'll work out for me. In the meantime, though, I have to be aware of his doings. Maybe this way is slower. I don't know. What is this? I've been tricked. Oh, it's there. What the f... You gotta be kidding me. Okay, now it's just a battle for me to maintain second. What is going on? Alright. Whew. So that's all the stuff I had on my list. Cops being the thing that I sort of wrapped up with there. And we're about halfway through the stream. Very nice. Only one viewer. That's unfortunate. I know people tend to tune out when I talk about politics, blah blah blah. Except for the one guy who I actually had a little bit of a philosophical back and forth with, when he'd come on the stream and mentioned, you know, building a Pokemon team to combat a home invasion. You know, and I was mostly picking Pokemon that would just sort of knock the guy on his ass and leave him dizzy for a couple of days or something. It's like, whatever. But then, you know, he started. I'm not gonna mention his name. You can go back and check the VODs if you want on my YouTube channel. Epic plug. But he had mentioned that, you know, well, why I would want to kill this guy, the robber or the burglar that entered my home. And I was like, why would you want to do that? Nobody deserves to die. And of course, the classic "not even Hitler" came up, and the answer is no, not even Hitler. He deserved to be locked up for life. He did not deserve to die because the state shouldn't have that kind of authority. Shouldn't have the authority to just decide, yeah, our moral code dictates that you should die, instead of potentially being reformed. Even if it's impossible to reform somebody, you can't know that until you try. Ooh, almost got him with that. I'm kind of doing good. Oh, you hit the penguin. Somebody got hit by that bomb, which is cool. Oh shit, dude, my back. Joke's on him. I guess he's getting blue shelled now. Oh, I got a mushroom. Are there any shortcuts on this track? There might be, but I think I'd prefer to not have a mushroom. This is a better item for me to have. But I got shocked in second, so that means I'm going to grow big before him. Yeah. Ah, damn it. I've tried to slow on him, but he got me. Ow. I think this is a good spot to use golden. Yeah, here's a shortcut right there. Nice. Oh, what? That's a thing you can do up there? I didn't know this. I'm going wide to avoid the guy in the bullet. Ah. Ooh, I got a big idea. Chain it? Yes, sir. Nice. Hey, kitty cats. Thank you for the follow. I'm assuming that you are the Carter in-game here. You have some really good driving. Welcome to the chat. God damn. I'm impressed with the degree of prowess you're displaying in this game, because most of these tracks are not designed with carts in mind. It'd be nice if there were more tracks like that, though, that were designed to accommodate karts. You know about good driving, though? That's fair. Ooh, alright. Nothing like a good swig of water. Let's go Glimmer Express trains. It seems I've got some competition with these, like, 9,000 players in the room now. This is a nice, like, consistent little room of just 6 people, on and off. Ooh. Overall, nice selection of good tracks. I think we just played Super Mario World, didn't we? Alright, Bowser's Castle. Oh boy. Try hard Central incoming? Yeah. 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 Oh boy. It be like that. This version is so much better than the old version. Just because of that. That fucking bridge there. Old version, you'd bump all over the place, and it made me, like... These nuts. Did I get him? I didn't get him. A dude. I don't want to give up this red shell. Oh! Oh! My back! Alright, alright. It's fine, it's lap 1. It's lap 1. Oh, this is so much nicer too. Yes. What? That guy had a banana? That is so strange. I have the bill in second. I have the bill in first. This is a really bad spot to have the bullet bill in. No! Okay. And that's how you play Bowser's Castle for the Nintendo GameCube. Alright. God, these are never gonna work. Oh, okay. It's all good. He hit the fireballs. This track is hard. Why do we have to play the hard track? Why couldn't we play something easier? Like the giant Glimmer Express trains track. I'm kidding, that track isn't exactly easy, being a little bit facetious there. What is going on? Do you have to, like, not trick on that? That's ridiculous. Alright, I'm going to the left this time. Ooh, 3 mushrooms. Okay. I'm gonna try to hold these to the end. That was a good attempt. Good throw. Wow, this guy's also on me mock bike. I appreciate it. Oh. Nope. You're not gonna get me with that. Oh, shit. I got another mushroom. I could potentially get first here. I know you want to throw that at me, but please don't. Barely didn't get first. I think I had the correct instincts that whole match, more or less. That whole race. Oh well. Yeah, Tryhard Central is about right. Well, frowny face. Hey, look at the positives. I think you only lost like 12 VR. And now that track, I don't think you can get the what? I got disconnected. Oh yeah, also I have better Twitch TV enabled. It's the first time that's shown up, which is very nice. Oh wow, I don't think I lost any VR. RIP room, yeah. Alright, we're going again. Who are these people? Okay, there's me. Uh-huh. 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 Kanye! Bro, Kanye's in the room. Bro. See if he can't autograph his latest album for me. I don't actually listen to Kanye anything. That guy's fucking weird. It's always a genuine surprise if I gain any. Yeah, sometimes it feels like that. But don't get too down on yourself about it. I have, when I was 19, I used to play this game more online. And I didn't used to stream as often because I was in college. And I wanted to do the sort of like road to 900 or 9,999 thing, where I sort of go along until I get to 9999. But having that goal in the back of my head detrimented me so much in the main objective of any video game, which is really just to enjoy it. And I was like getting frustrated over and over and over, and it detracted from my ability to drive, and it made me more frustrated and all that. It grew into this toxic sense of anger. And I didn't understand at the time that I didn't really understand that I had depression, and that's one of the ways that it can manifest. But I eventually decided, like, I'm just gonna retire from the game. And for 3 years I did. I just put my controller down and never played online. I would still play the offline, the updates when they came out to see what the new tracks were, but I, like, didn't go online or play Mario Kart with other people, other than, like, people in my college dorm who wanted to play it casually for 3 years. And then, you know, in that 3 years, I actually got diagnosed with depression, started getting on my medication, really put a concerted effort into the ways in which I was thinking and how I should think and how I shouldn't think. And I decided, you know what, you know, if you go back to my my first stream of Mario Kart, you'll see this. You know, I talked about this there. I decided when I came back, you know what, I'm just gonna go online for the sake of playing online and racing against other people on these cool custom tracks. And I'm not going to go in with the objective of, like, gaining VR. Like, granted, I have something like 8,900 VR right now, but if you know, I could lose 500 over the course of the stream and I wouldn't care. I would just enjoy the fact that I'm driving on all these nice, very nice looking tracks. And I know that, you know, it's a very difficult thing to sort of eventually arrive at that mindset, but I think that's the correct way to approach the game ultimately. And it also helps me laugh when I get a bad item pull, like a blooper or a thundercloud. Sorry, I was trying to... Oh yeah, you know, no problem. You don't have to, you know... I guess, you know, I very much appreciate the sympathy, but, you know, there's, you know, an epidemic of mental illness happening in America and the world right now, and I feel for you as well. You know, depression and anxiety, you know, two things that I've had to, you know, had to talk with and deal with in friend circles and family and that sort of thing as well. And it's surprising the degree to which it can just follow you around. A genuine specter. But yeah, all that to say that, you know, don't worry too much about gaining or losing VR. Because at the end of the day, you're making an impression just by joining these rooms as a carter. You know? Oh, my back. Because your own experience? Yeah, absolutely. That, you know, that definitely helps. Oops. I am in last place. I am no longer in last place. Bullet bill. Yes. Okay, now what do I do with this? I know what I do with this. Go! 3 red shells in third. Bro, why am I in third? Dang. That's unfortunate. Please give me item. No, I didn't get the item box. I will now lose 200 VR. Moment of truth. 91. Yeah, I guess one more thing I'll add. Just make sure that, you know, when you're dealing with anxiety, when you're dealing with depression, there's a lot of insecurity buried deep down in there, and that's hard to overcome by yourself. In fact, I dare say it's impossible to overcome by yourself. So just make sure that you have a good circle of friends, of social support, you know, and even if you can't afford medication, which a lot of people can't in America, you know, a good support network will take you a long way. Although obviously that's not to say that if that's not to say you shouldn't medicate for it as well and see a psychiatrist and all that, because if you can, you should. But you know. Lamentable at best in the passive addiction. Should often trigger meltdowns. That's sad. That's very sad. You know. But look. Even though first impressions are important, there is always room for you to come out the other end a better person and a better like image of yourself as well. You know. I'm handling things much better now, though. That's great. That's good. You know, addiction. You know, again, addiction is a really big problem in this country as well, especially for those in lower socioeconomic demographics. And you know, it gets too much. It gets way too much stigma in in popular media, in news media, in politics, whatever. And you know, again, I think any good network of people will tell you that, you know, that's not what makes you. In fact, one of the big things that a lot of folks who have a more not nuanced view of like drug issues and addiction issues will miss out on is that people don't like being addicts. People don't like being addicted to stuff. You know, it really doesn't feel good. You know, I've had friends, I've had you know, people in my life who I've talked to about addiction issues and things like that. I'm not gonna name names, but it's just not. It's not a good feeling. You know, initially it's like, you know, there's the meme of I can stop whenever I want to. That's a very real idea that worms its way into people's heads, and then eventually, you know, they realize that you know, they're going to depend on the substance that they shouldn't be, and they realize they shouldn't be, but they don't have the mental capacity to break out of it because they've developed a chemical dependency, and the, you know, apparatus of the state demonizes them for it. So all this to say, it is actually a huge achievement for you to have made some headway on this on dealing with alcoholism and stuff. Precisely. It's just one more thing that you don't have control over in a world of things that you already have no control over. Wow, that was only lap 2? This track is long. Not a huge fan of this one. Like, I respect the attempt from the track author to make another, like, Yoshi-themed and Yoshi-shaped track. That'd be kind of difficult. But I think this one is, like, way too big. No, absolutely not. You're not bringing the mood down. You know, it's fine to have a... I'm totally fine with having a serious tone on stream. Just earlier I was talking about how the cops were brutalizing some poor schmuck on the side of the street in Arkansas. That was a big news story. But yeah, don't worry about it. This stream, I'm trying to design this stream to be a safe space for people who want to talk about more serious stuff. You know, when it gets serious, and when it's more lighthearted, it's more lighthearted. Ooh, he passed me. I'm okay. I was deathly scared of getting hit by that. Did he finish yet? Yeah, he did. Don't get me started on the subject of lawless cops. Yeah, it's a doozy. It's, one of the ways in which my dad and I share a lot of political beliefs, have sort of made light of that issue, because, at the end of the day, some making light of serious stuff is necessary to be able to get by. Otherwise, it seems like the whole world is bearing down on you. One way in which we've made light of that is actually when we see the thin blue line flag. A lot of people will fly those south of where we live. We live in Virginia, so anytime we go remotely south, we start seeing a whole lot of that. We say, oh look, they forgot the rest of the colors on the pride flag, because it's the one blue stripe, and obviously the pride flag has blue on it, but it's like, oh, they forgot the rest of the colors. So far, police are very stringently regulated and brought to task if they do overstep the mark. Oh yeah, and in England, as far as I know, your cops aren't even given guns. Like you have tasers and batons, right? In England, but in America, every cop has a gun, and it's really regrettable because one of the instances of lawless cops in this country is it's because the police were actually designed to do that. Before the Civil War in the United States, there were slave owners and slave drivers who wanted to retrieve their fugitive slaves in the North and elsewhere in their own state, and so they actually commissioned groups of people as slave patrols to peruse around areas nearing certain state borders and nearing places where you could feasibly escape to the north. And things like that, to try to find runaway slaves and then bring them back to the people they had escaped from, and that is where the institution of policing in the United States actually originates from. That's where we get police departments from, in America. In England, I'm sure it's a bit of a different story, but after the Civil War as well, that already existing attitude of pre-existing anti-black bias in the police force was actually compounded upon by groups like the Pinkertons and quote-unquote policing groups that would do enforcement for like owners of private companies or mayors who were in the pockets of like robber barons. So basically the police in the United States were designed to do two things: crack black skulls and serve the interests of private capital. And they do both of those things very well. But as far as the rest of what they are allegedly supposed to do, it doesn't look so good. Oh yeah, it was a very brutal thing from the get-go. Like in the United States, obviously, there was a concept of upholding and enforcing the law, but that concept, before the introduction of slave patrols, like fugitive slave patrols and private enforcement, did not rely on a police department to do its work. It was mostly like you'd have like a local constable, like one guy who was an officer of the court who could say, "Hey, you're in violation of this law." But it wasn't a whole squad of people with batons even. I think I'm gonna chain this. Yeah. Oh, good decision. I cannot let him know that I have a bomb. Never mind, they know. So many changes need to be made. Foremost, the right to bear arms. Yeah, that's, you know, that's like, in the United States, one of the unfortunate things I've come to realize that that's such a down-the-line problem. Like, there are so many guns in the United States that, like, dealing with it in any significant facet right now is very difficult. You know, as crass and cynical as it sounds to say, the more shootings happen in the United States, the better the chances are of people realizing that we do actually have a gun problem. But in the more immediate term, if a classroom full of small children being shot in the face doesn't convince or sway them, what will? Nothing will, except for public shaming. I don't know if you've seen, but there's actually a very famous clip of what's his name, Beto O'Rourke, who was at a I think a fundraising event or like a campaigning event, and he was talking about gun violence. And somebody from the rival campaign on the Republican side came and started heckling him, right as he was mentioning kids being shot with military-grade weaponry. And he said, "It may be funny to you, motherfucker, but it's not funny to me." And that sort of stigma against people who would support the right of people to own whatever kind of weapon they want, even after these kinds of events happen en masse, that kind of stigma is our gateway into finally addressing the gun problem in the United States and potentially getting, you know, massive amounts of firearms out of the hands of people that really should not have had them in the first place. So in terms of policy, there's not a ton we can do. There was something passed recently that I think is good that included certain bans on certain like specific models of weapon. And obviously there are things you can do, like red flag laws, to limit the effect that massive amounts of guns can have. Like if somebody's mentally ill, you would be able to deprive them of a firearm, or if somebody has a history of domestic abuse as well. If you can believe it, there actually aren't any laws on the books in the United States that say that it's okay to take guns from those people. But before all that starts happening in larger quantities, social stigma is the way to go. You know, mocking, belittling people who are avidly pro-gun, because that is how you denormalize their opinions. And when you denormalize their opinions, you open everybody up to the concept of changing the status quo that is in line with those opinions. Do you think if they tried a media blackout on mass shootings, it just might help to decrease them? It's possible. You know, shouldn't be discounted out of the realm of possibility. Obviously, media attention is one of the big motives for mass shooters in America to do their thing. But I think another key factor, I think, is following up on criminal complaints that happen beforehand, like before the mass shootings even start. You know, the FBI has its fingers in many pies, and in the United States that includes actually monitoring internet activity by people that they might deem to be dangerous. Quite frequently we hear in America that XYZ mass shooter was actually posting a lot online, posted this crazy manifesto where they basically outed themselves as a Nazi and said, "I'm going to shoot up all these people." And the police and FBI just don't do anything about it. And, you know, if you follow through on that and, you know, use that frequently as viable grounds for arrest and prosecution, then I think you would genuinely see the amount of mass shooting and gun crime decrease, because people would be held accountable for crimes that they had already committed before they got the chance to shoot somebody. Oh yeah, the Columbine shooting is a huge inspiration for modern shooters, because of the body count and because of the ineptitude of the police. I don't know if you've heard in that, or maybe it was Sandy Hook. I think, yeah, it was Sandy Hook. In the Sandy Hook shooting, the police were also massively inept to the degree that they did not rescue people trying to jump from second and third story windows because they thought, oh, this could be a trick by the shooter. And they let the kids fall to their death. And that didn't get a whole lot of attention at the time. I only learned about this after the Uvalde, Texas shooting had happened. And so what the signal that sends is that, oh, we can just do this and the police won't stop us. Like, they won't stop us before that. They won't stop us during that either. You know? Yeah, it is absolutely shameful. And the police in America, it seems, have no shame, so we need to bring some of the hammer down, the institutional hammer on them. In my city, they've actually done a civilian review board so that the police are actually accountable to the civilian sector. A lot of times police enjoy what's called qualified immunity, which means even if they do commit a crime, you can't prosecute them for it because they were on the job when they did it. But that gets out of the way once you introduce a civilian review board, because they determine that, like, if you do commit a crime, you're liable to be held accountable for it, just like everybody else. Gave them an extra hour in the building while they remained outside discussing strategies. Oh yeah, the police, they did that during Columbine, they did that during Sandy Hook, they did that during Uvalde, they did that during Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. Police in America not exactly known for their being the best and brightest, so to speak. Oh, actually, somebody with that. Somebody's taking crazy routes. Got him! Have I gotten like 3 bombs? Oh no, they weren't close enough. I was thinking to myself, I'm a fucking genius. Oh yeah, at one point the parents said that the kids who came out alive saved themselves. Yeah. And what's even worse is that at Uvalde, the police actually stopped parents who wanted to go in and save their kids from the shooter. They were handcuffing and arresting parents that attempted to go inside the building to get their kids out of the classroom. Because, no, that's our job to not do. And furthermore, the cops that were inside, not only were they not saving the kids, they were actively getting them killed in some instances. There was, of course, the infamous phone call with a cop where the kid was like, there's a shooter, please help. And they said, like, okay, yell really loud so our officers can find you. And once they yelled really loud, the shooter found them and killed them as a result of that cop's instructions. And the worst part of all of this, the whole shooting, the worst part of it was that there was a classroom in which several students and a couple of teachers were hiding. And upon entering the building, the cops were like, okay, we're gonna barricade this person in the classroom. And they shut him in the classroom, did not lock the door, and proceeded to wait for him to massacre about a dozen people. So the majority of the casualties at that school shooting in Texas was a result of the cops' action. Not even their inaction. Their action to put the shooter in a room with the people he was trying to shoot and not apprehend him. Yeah, in a sentence, policing in America is fucked. Yeah, they're absolutely culpable at that point, but the law says that they have qualified immunity, So they're not going to they can't get prosecuted. And the police departments always play cover up for them. This happened a lot after the shooting. About half of what we learned about what the cops did wrong was only as a result of media reporting that the police department did not disclose beforehand. Yeah. Very, very infuriating topic. But what helps to make it less unbearable is that you get to make fun of the cops for looking like thumbs. You know? Because they all got that look to them. Bald, weird folds on the back of their head. Oh yeah, thank God indeed for all the internet media coverage. And the good thing about that is that a lot of people are starting to wisen up to the incompetence and sometimes outright malice of the cops in America, to such a degree that I think it is now the more mainstream position to disapprove of police action, police departments and stuff like that, than it is to say support the cops than blue line, which is big progress from when I was growing up. You know, I was growing up in the 2000s when the Conservative Party, the Republican Party, was in charge in the United States. You know, George Bush was president, all that. For England, I guess this would be the Blair years. And I remember growing up so often, you know, it was so unkosher to think of the cops as anything other than the good guys. You know, and even on into the 2010s with the Obama presidency, it was, and for a good chunk of the Trump presidency, it was not really a popular line to say, you know, fuck the police. At least not in, like, very mainstream, let's be honest, predominantly white circles. Of course, the black community was already clued into this. So it is good in that respect that the public attitude is turning against the police. You know, because since this country is nominally still has some elements of democracy to it, we have some hope of being able to stigmatize the police into their place and be able to affect policy based on popular opinion. Yeah, we're not China. You know, that much is good. Weird camera angle. I almost got hit by that. No, I don't think I'm gonna make it. Okay. I'm good. Yeah, we at least can say fuck the police, and you know, even though it doesn't change anything, we don't necessarily get punished for doing so. You know? Whereas in China, you say, like, Taiwan is a real country. I support Tibetan independence. And then Xi Jinping personally comes and takes all your lunch money and freezes your assets and reduces your social credit score by 100 million. How am I in second? Wait, why am I just now noticing this? Please let me get second. It would be funny, I think. I got second. Oh yeah, in China or Russia, you get black bagged for that sort of crap. And, funnily enough, in one of the countries that I am have some affiliation with, very loose, but you know, I am eligible for, although am not, a Moroccan citizen. And in Morocco, people get disappeared pretty often. You have to. That's where you sort of learn to be good at hiding your power level, because the countries like this, the most disturbing part is how good they are at hiding who's on the payroll and who's not. Right? Like you can spot them, but it's not like you would realistically be able to weave around them, because they place them in such ubiquitous positions of daily life. For example, in Morocco, the person jogging up and down the street is probably not exercising so much as they're casing the block. The person that delivers your mail, the mailman, is on the payroll, and they leave your mailbox open after they deliver you the mail to let you know that the state's watching you. The guy sweeping the street is usually on the payroll. You know, and it's not necessarily to say, oh, you have some background in Palestine? That's very cool, but also unfortunate. Yeah, and like that's not necessarily to say all these are the people that will black bag you, but they're the people that they'll tell the people that end up black bagging you. I try to maintain a level of awareness about the Israel-Palestine situation, but you know, it's hard because that doesn't often get covered by the American news, and when it does, it's usually not that favorable to Palestine because, you know, U.S. is allies with Israel, or as me and the boys know it, Israel, spelled like real. Yes. I hit the wall twice. Oh, really? Your boyfriend created this? Very cool track. I like this track. Where do I use these mushrooms? And bitterly regrets it? Dang, why? Is it like... Is it the sort of eternal curse that artists always like hate the work that they produce? My fellow Americans. Call it Yoshi Deathway. I don't think it's that bad from that perspective. Like, you know, you guys might not have been around for some of the earlier days of the custom tracks. This is phenomenal. He says there's too many item boxes. That is a good problem to have. I remember back in the day, some of the custom tracks, even the good ones, would have so few sets of items. That would be like they were rendered as front-running tracks just by the lack of item boxes that they had. You know, even if the terrain was really favorable to making a comeback. So I think this is a whole lot preferable to the alternative. Yeah, you can never have too many. All item boxes. The whole track is just item boxes. I got last. Wah! So says an addict. Hey, it is always okay to be addicted to item boxes in your favorite game. Don't let anybody tell you different. Wait, I'm dumb. We already played this. I just sort of autopilot to picking this track. Yeah, give me more. Mushroom Valley. Oh boy. This track used to be, and still is, very weird. It used to be like... It was a different kind of weird several years ago, because of the whole, like, old custom track textures and whatnot. Now it's kind of weird because of the, like... Because of the layout and shape of the track, I think.
Oh no, I burnt out.
You know? Because it's still... To me, it still kind of feels like an old custom track, just with how big it is. You know? Unlimited power. Nobody can stop me. Except for gravity! Isn't that a Britney song? I don't know. I don't know music very much. A bullet bill. But what they didn't realize is that I was a superstar genius. Because I always get
The best items.
I wonder if it'll go this way. Oh, it will. Oh, wow. That was a really good bullet. Back when she was awesome? Yeah. Okay, I'm good, I'm good. It's alright, there's still another lap to go. Just give me a box, please. Ah, a golden mushroom. I should probably just start using this now. They cannot stop me. Yeah, okay, I think that was a good decision. Ooh, golden mushroom again. Please do not use the shock before I am in the cannon. Thank you. Oh, I'm a genius. Oh, dude, we got a 9,999 player in the room. Bro. Time to farm VR. Off this guy. Most people assume I'm a guy, lol, but nope. Why would they assume that you're a guy, I wonder? Because you play video game and therefore not girl, because girl don't play video game? If so, flawless logic. Except for the part where it's not flawless, because it's wrong. Yeah, there's not that many girls that play this game particularly. There's a lot of games that were like have particular demographics, but yeah, tends to skew heavily male, cis male at that. You know what's interesting is that I don't see any trans guys playing video games. Like, I haven't heard of that be a thing as much. I've obviously seen cis guys, cis women, and trans women play video games. And NB people, non-binary people. But never, like, a trans guy. I guess that just means I haven't been to enough corners of the internet yet, but it's a very weird, weird demographic thing, I think. That, you know, doesn't come up very much. There's a Twitch community for trans, I think? That's awesome. You'll love to see it. Bro. No, I made it, but then I didn't make it. I think I need to come at a less harsh angle. You mostly watch IRL stuff? Yeah, that's fair.
No, I knew that would happen.
Excuse me. You have a moment to talk about our Lord and Savior, Jesus. Oh yeah, travel stuff? That's fun. I, the soy thing. I don't know. You don't go out much because of anxiety? Anxiety will do that. Depression, honestly, depression does that too. There is a good way to, like, work around that, though. And it's just to, like, you know, it's cliche to say, but baby steps, right? Like, I know that I need to have time, outside. Oh yeah, living vicariously is fun, in the kind of media that you watch. But, you know, the trick is just to, like, not even necessarily go out for, like, an event or whatever, but just to, like, sit outside a little bit. And like, I don't know, maybe read. That's what I do sometimes. Since COVID, I ended up trapped in a DV situation. Oh, God. That's, I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope you're managing to, yeah, wow, that will set your mental health back. I don't know if there's much I can say about that. No family, just this person? Oh, man. That's the worst. You know? And God, recovering from that's got to be hard too. You managed to get video evidence. That's good. You were victim shamed? My God. Jesus. I can't believe how widespread that attitude is. Victim shaming is a fucking scourge on the project of humanity and living in a communal society. Man. I hope, you know, why would you let this person into your home to begin with? Well, those are the kinds of people that themselves are probably abusers as well. I mean, I don't mean to, like, slander any of these people, but, like, God, that must feel so defeating, you know? Because the reason certain people are defined as manipulative is because you don't know that they're manipulative until they're, like, halfway through being able to manipulate you. That's how manipulation works. You don't notice it until they've already done enough of it that, like, you know? Yeah, what do you say? I mean, I guess the only correct thing to say to these people is, like, well, okay, is, you know, since you clearly aren't willing to accept evidence, is there really nothing I can say to get you to support me in this situation? Or are you always just going to take the... And I got ping pong. Like, or are you always just going to side with the abuser here? Because, I don't know, because they're a guy or because, like, supposedly I'm at fault or something? Like, why am I always... Or why are you always, and you know, in this case, the person getting the onus put on their shoulders? That's... oopsie. You know, it just doesn't, it's the most irrational and harmful response possible to allegations like that, is to say, like, is essentially the, well, what were you wearing response? You know, or like, well, you let them in. It's like, okay, they knew how to get in. That's not your, you know, that's not your fault. Yeah, what, like, yeah, okay, I guess you're right. I guess I do deserve to be brutalized. No, what? When somebody says that, that's just that's a big old sign that they themselves would do the same thing to their partner. You know? Is why you never asked for help? Jesus. You know, ironically, as volatile as the online space can be, sometimes the internet is where to go when you have, you know, stuff like that. Yeah, I hear a lot about people who live in relatively rural and thereby, you know, more conservative communities who, you know, people aren't terribly supportive of them, but, you know, and turn to online message boards where, you know, people live abroad. There's a much more broad range of opinions and greater likelihood that people will be willing to see your side of things. But yeah, you know, and asking for help in that sort of situation is already difficult, you know, and I you know, congratulate you for even getting that far. It's just the consequences are super regrettable. Holy shit. And the people you knew were defending that guy? Jesus. Alright, where's those nuclear codes? I'm going down to Mar-a-Lago. I need to end this planet. I died. I didn't die. By the way, Twitch, that's a joke. I didn't mean it. Please don't terms of service me off your website. Until he was in trouble for attacking. Ugh. Man. Pretty much says. Yeah, okay, yeah, like, like, great, thank you for more. See, that, I mean, I guess, God, what's done is done. There's no way to go back to these people, because clearly they've shown that they can't be trusted with anything, right? Much less highly personal information, but, you know, at that point, the answer is, like, or the, you know, the thing about them is, like, so then you don't actually care about the abuse. You know? Because this is how abuse gets purveyed and propagated at the end of the day. Is that people like that will, you know, when somebody finally does reach out for help, again, you know, congrats for even getting that far. That's a massive step. You know, people will say, oh, well, you deserved it because you let it happen. No. I haven't been in abusive situations myself, but I've known people who have been, and and I've had arguments around this subject with people who I knew who were more conservative. It's never the victim of abuse's fault for being in that situation, because abusers know how to push buttons. The reason that somebody who's abusive gets into your life is not because you let them in, it's because they pressed the button that lets them in. You know, this is why we have to have the concept of red flags, so that the you know, person who's a victim of abuse could potentially, you know, recognize certain things for their own defense, because otherwise abusers are super skilled at manipulating people. Jesus. Yeah, they can sniff out a vulnerability from a mile away. They're like a fucking disease. Literally, it's like, I think that's the closest pathology that I can imagine, is that they're like a microscopic parasite, except this time you can see the parasite. You know, they go and look for vulnerabilities in a host organism, and then they attach to the host organism and feed off of it until there's, like, nothing left to feed off of, or until the host figures out that it's a parasite and, you know, tries to get rid of it. Yeah. They always... one thing that abusers are disgustingly good at as well is introducing, like, plausible deniability, which is why context is super important. One instance might not necessarily abusive. Even an abuser doing abusive things one time might not necessarily constitute them being an abuser, but a pattern of them doing sussy things, even if none of them on their own are, you know, the smoking gun, add up to an aggregate of a smoking gun. You know? It's like the straw that broke the camel's back. Like, the straw itself might not be, like, singly weighing down the camel, but there's a myriad of other things that compound with the straw that are a massive weight. Yeah, you know, isolation is a key tactic that people like that use, and that groups like that use. There are groups that do this too. You know, like cult stuff. It's essentially like a cult behavior, but in this case, the cult is just the one person, and like whoever they've chosen as their target. And people are really not, you know, people are really not good enough at recognizing that. And I think we, as, you know, as a society, we're even though like sexual abusers and stuff get like the worst reputation in prison, I don't think they are nearly stigmatized enough and recognizable enough to the general populace. Like, clearly this is something we need to be doing a better job of. God. Frankly, now that all is said and done, you know, I'm glad that you were able to eventually get out of this situation, and you know, even though that this is not the type of thing that you'd be able to really put behind you, that life continues on, and hopefully you're able to make it a good one. You know, my heart really my heart pours out to you, because it's like it's almost like you just start laughing out of exasperation, because it's such a tragedy, like almost becomes a comedy of errors after being a tragedy for so long, you know? No, absolutely, absolutely. You know, and it's okay, you know, if this helps you get that stuff off your chest, then this helps you get that stuff off your chest, and I'm here for it. Nah, forget about it. Nah. Usually I don't like GBA tracks, but I make an exception for this one. But anyways, with that being said, this actually almost times it perfectly, because I usually stream for 2 hours, and so I think this will be the last race, and then I'm gonna end stream here. Maybe have a nice snack, and you know, wish you good luck with all your endeavors. Barely got that in time. Yeah, no problem. Glad to have been able to be, you know, an outlet, or, you know, part and parcel of this conversation. Oh. I don't like the sheer number of people that are behind me here. That's almost what I expected to happen. Well, that is what I expected to happen. I'm gonna be so far behind by the time I get out of this, yeah. Alright, it's fine. I just have to race perfectly for 2 consecutive laps, and never mind. What? I didn't hit the boost panel? I am going to lose 1 million VR. Oh yeah, as the saying goes. As the saying goes, indeed. I'm just gonna use this now. I'm so far behind. Changes? Alright, I'm kind of back in. Oh, wow. I think 2 mushrooms in 6th is a good spot to be in for me. Like that. What? I'm surprised how good of use I made out of those mushrooms. Ooh, a star. I cannot believe I used that in time. Never mind, it didn't matter. 7th. Give me an item. Okay, 7. Hectic last race. All well and good. Quit game, please. Alright. Alright, okay. Alright, okay. If you cared to friend add me at any point, by the way, that'd be... Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think I might even do that after, you know, after stream ends. But, you know, as far as the stream right now goes, thank you for watching. Thank you for engaging with me. It's rare that I get engagement, and even rarer that I get a chance to, you know, be an emotional outlet for somebody. I feel like I really helped, and that's great. And I hope, kitty cats, I hope that you keep on carding, keep on making the good impressions. No, it's okay. I totally understand. It, you know, it's just sometimes there's a time for serious stuff, and it seems like, you know, this time was that time. But anyways, we salute you, and I'll, you know, if you want to come back next stream, I will be streaming on Thursday. So, have a good one.